Percy the small engine was quite unhappy. After an accident with some treacle and hay, the engines on the branch line would not stop talking about woolly bear caterpillars. Things were no better on the main line either. Henry remained silent on the matter, but Gordon and James took every chance they got to remind Percy of his accident. Insults from the big engines were most dreadful indeed, as they were much less relenting. One morning, at the big station, Gordon and James were teasing Percy like usual. "Oh, look, Gordon," laughed James. "What's that caterpillar doing on the rails? Doesn't it know it could get hurt?" "Don't be silly, James," Gordon replied. "That can't be a caterpillar. Everyone knows caterpillars like wallowing around in treacle and hay." "Shut up," growled Percy. "It's not funny." But Gordon and James continued laughing anyway. "Pay them no mind, Percy," soothed Duck as he arranged a freight train. "If there's one thing I've learned about the island of Sodor, it's that being rude to other engines never gets anyone the last laugh." Percy could only hope that Duck would be right. Sometime later, winter came to the island. Duck's joints had frozen, and Percy was busy at the harbor. Neither were available to manage the yard. The big engines, once again, had to fetch their own trains. Gordon and James didn't much like the work, but they didn't dare moan about it to Sir Topham Hatt. It was very windy one morning, and Gordon was in a deep sleep. He'd been working very hard last night, and was now unable to wake up, no matter how hard his crew tried. It was almost time for the express. People were waiting patiently, but the coaches weren't ready, and neither was the engine taking them. At last, his driver lost patience. "Gordon, wake up!" he shouted. "The express is due in 15 minutes!" But Gordon had forgotten that he was supposed to shun his own coaches. "5 more minutes, driver," he yawned. "You have to shunt your own coaches. Have you forgotten?" That did the trick. Gordon woke up in a flash. "What?" he exclaimed suddenly. And with that, Gordon was off. Meanwhile, James was puffing back to the big station from the flour mill. His freight cars were full of flour, and he was going very fast. "Slow down, James," called his crew. "The wind's picking up. We have to be extra careful about our speed." "Oh, please," laughed James. "A little wind never hurt anyone. I'm a big, strong tender engine. I'll be fine." Gordon was frantic as he searched the yards. Express coaches, he thought to himself. Where could they be? Where could they be? "Look," called his driver. "There's our coaches." Gordon looked, and there they were, in one of the sidings in front of him. Gordon was excited and quickly approached them. But he was so eager to get his train arranged that he didn't notice the points, which were set away from the coaches. He rushed past the train and went bump, straight into a line of oil tankers. The wind made the tankers roll along until they were out on the main line. "Oh no!" cried Gordon, and he quickly went after them. James was approaching from the other direction, on the same line as the tankers. He braked as hard as he could, but with the heavy wind and the heavy train, it was too late. The next thing Gordon and James knew, they were covered from smokebox to firebox in white flour and black spots of oil. Just then, Percy came back from the harbor. He saw Gordon and James and was about to tease them for the mess they'd caused when he suddenly stopped. He remembered how it felt when he was teased for how he looked after an accident, and without saying another word, he quickly set off for help. Soon enough, the mess was sorted out. Henry was called to take the express, Thomas cleared away the unhurt freight cars, and Percy, with the cranes, lifted Gordon and James back onto the rails. That night, at the sheds, Gordon and James had something to say. "We're sorry for how we've been treating you these past few days," said Gordon. "Yes, indeed," added James. "We didn't think about how it must have felt for you until we felt it ourselves." "It's all right," smiled Percy. "All's well that ends well." "You know," chuckled James, "I'm surprised you didn't tease us. With our flowery white coats and spots of oil scattered about, you'd think we were Dalmatians." Gordon and James and Percy still had their disagreements every now and again, but now they are all much agreed on the subject of animals.